morning, everyone. I am Dr. Rashmi Chovatia. I am a senior consultant physician working at SIMS Hospital, Ahmedabad. Today, I am going to speak about SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 chemoprophylaxis. As we all know, the COVID-19 is the greatest global public health crisis of mankind after the 1918 influenza outbreak. More than 2 million people have been already infected with the disease, and as it is growing, more and more healthcare workers are coming at risk for getting infected. There is no proven effective treatment exists due to limitation of randomized controlled trial-based data. Drug used at present, there is a concern for the potential toxicity, especially in the unmonitored settings. As the lot of healthcare workers are getting infected, no doubt PPE has the first of and foremost important role in the prevention of the disease. There is some guidelines regarding the chemoprophylaxis given by the ICMR, that is Indian Council of Medical Research. So by HO, it has been said that there is no approved treatment for prophylaxis for COVID-19. But hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine has been proposed by the ICMR and the other guidelines for the emergency, and FDA also has given emergency use authorization for the use of these medicine, and only in the adults and adolescent whose weight is 50 kg or more, and it should be adult and the weight should be more than 50 kg. The drug should not be given to the children less than 15 years of age. So chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine, they have been found effective in the laboratory studies and in vitro studies for the treatment of coronavirus 19, COVID-19. The use for the prophylaxis is advised on the basis of efficacy of this medicine in the treatment and supported by the preclinical data. So there is about the anti-COVID-19 action of hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine primarily used as an anti-inflammatory drug used for the treatment of malaria, and chloroquine. They are used for the treatment of malaria, rheumatoid arthritis, SLE, porphyria cutanea tarda, and other systemic inflammatory diseases. It also has antiviral properties, and it is being studied for the treatment of COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2. So what is the mechanism of action? The hydroxychloroquine acts as a multiple level on as an antiviral activity. First of all, it prevents the glycosylation of the ACE2 receptor and prevents the entry of the virus into the cell. It also acts on the endosome and lysosome, where it increases the lysosomal pH. So the spike protein cannot, it prevents the cleavage of the spike protein, and hence the viral RNA multiplication is blocked. It also has immunomodulatory effect by preventing T cell activation. Let us go through some journal study, like International Journal of Antimicrobial Agent. They have said that the chloroquine and its compound have they are showing in vitro activity against SARS-CoV-2. There is a study from China which shows the use of hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin as a treatment of COVID-19. Here in graph we can see black is the control patients, blue is the hydroxychloroquine patient who has received hydroxychloroquine, and green is the patient who received hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin. This is a study about the treatment use of hydroxychloroquine for the treatment. But see, the use of hydroxychloroquine definitely improves the clinical outcome in the COVID infected patient. Recently, on April 17, 2020, the Infectious Disease Journal, The Lancet, says that there is a chloroquine and chloroquine related formulation tentatively included among the drugs for use in limiting the total burden of COVID-19 for the prophylaxis. There is one large scale study going in US on hydroxychloroquine for the COVID-19 prophylaxis in Detroit to study the effectiveness of the hydroxychloroquine, whether it prevents the COVID-19 or not. It is a VEEP COVID-19 study. It includes 3,000 subjects. The result, it is a randomized double-blinded study designated to produce a scientific answer to the question. The preliminary results are expected to come in about May or about 2-3 months. So, having all this review, the ICMR has suggested hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine for the prophylactic treatment of COVID-19. Why? When we compare HCQS and chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine is better because the in vitro activity is achieved, antiviral activity is achieved at a lower effective concentration. So the toxicity of chloroquine at a higher doses, that is neuropsychiatric and other complication, can be avoided by using the hydroxychloroquine at a lower dosage. Also, there is a superior in vitro effect as compared to chloroquine when the drug was added prior to the viral challenge, and the effective concentration has been achieved in lung, blood, and plasma. So, based on all these data, the National Task Force formed by ICMR recommends use of hydroxychloroquine for prophylaxis against SARS-CoV-2 infection for high-risk population. Remember, it is a high-risk population. They have given the eligibility criteria, and I would request to stick to the eligibility criteria till the proven data comes. The protocol has been approved by the Drug Controller General of India for restricted use in emergency situation. So who are the eligible individual? The ICMR guideline says it should be used in asymptomatic healthcare workers involved in the care of suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19. That is one guideline for the healthcare worker. And for the general population, the asymptomatic household contact of laboratory confirmed positive cases. These are only two valid indication for use of hydroxychloroquine as a chemoprophylaxis. The dose for the hydroxychloroquine for asymptomatic healthcare workers who are exposed to the suspected or the confirmed cases is hydroxychloroquine 400 mg BD on day 1, followed by 400 mg once a week for 7 weeks. Once again, I also have a question, like 7 weeks, if the healthcare worker is going to get exposed to the suspected cases for more than 7 weeks, what is going to happen? So we wait for the further guidelines, and ideally if we are giving it as a chemoprophylaxis, it should be given as long as the worker is exposed to the suspected cases. The asymptomatic household contact of laboratory confirmed cases, the dose is loading dose is same 400 mg BD on day 1, but the followed by hydroxychloroquine 400 mg once a week for 3 weeks only, and all these doses should be taken after meal. There are contraindication for this prophylaxis medicine. The children less than 15 years of age, there is no if there is a known case of retinopathy, known hypersensitivity to the hydroxychloroquine or 4-aminoquinoline compounds. Anybody having any question regarding my presentation or any slide, you can put the question in the comment box. I will answer it later on. There are few considerations that are suggested by the ICMR. The drug must only be given on the prescription of registered medical practitioner. Chemoprophylaxis should not instill a false sense of security, and all the PPEs and the other infection prevention and control measures should be taken all the time. While on prophylaxis, high risk contact of positive cases, they must remain in home quarantine. And the healthcare worker, they should self monitor their health and report if they become symptomatic. What are the common side effects of hydroxychloroquine? They are headache, dizziness, GI upset, and rashes. These are the common side effects and generally well tolerated. But there are some major side effects of hydroxychloroquine, that are retinopathy. Though it occurs at a very high doses and the doses recommended for the prophylaxis are way lesser, The retinopathy is a common and major complication in which there is a perifoveal macular edema, and there is a loss of field of vision occurs in the patient. So we should keep a watch on it. QT prolongation and cardiac arrhythmia. The hydroxychloroquine and hence leads to the torsades de pointes and cardiac arrhythmia and sudden cardiac emergencies. Here is an ECG showing long QT interval. Uh, so we should definitely see the ECG, especially in the high risk population, before starting HCQS prophylaxis. Who are at a higher risk of getting the torsades de pointes or the long QT interval and cardiac arrhythmia, the American College of Cardiology has formed a risk score. The age more than 68 years, female gender, use of concomitant use of loop diuretic, or the patient who is already on loop diuretic, serum potassium level less than 3.5 millimole per liter, baseline ECG showing QTC interval more than 450 millisecond, history of acute myocardial infarction, heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, uh, one QTC interval prolonging drug 3 points, and the more or equal to 2 QTC prolonging drug another 3 points, and sepsis. So total score goes up to 21. The risk score category, the person having score less than 7 are at a lower risk of cardiac arrhythmia. The score between 7 to 10 are at the moderate risk of cardiac arrhythmia, and more than 11 are at a higher risk of cardiac arrhythmia. So, if we think about the cardiac complication, the absolute contraindication to use this medicine is congenital long QT syndrome, baseline QTC more than 480 millisecond, and the risk score more than 11, more or equal to 11. So it is better if we have a proper checklist before starting hydroxychloroquine, especially in the high-risk patient, as we have mentioned, serum potassium, baseline ECG, and G6PD status of an individual. So that we should follow, we can avoid the major cardiac complications. I would like to sum it up my presentation, but I would re-emphasize that the before starting the medicine, see that the individual matches the eligibility criteria. That is the asymptomatic healthcare worker involved in the care of suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19. The dose is 400 milligram BD on day 1, followed by 400 milligram once a week for 7 weeks. And asymptomatic household contact of laboratory confirmed cases, the dose loading dose same, followed by 400 milligram once a week for 3 weeks. Key considerations should not be forgotten. Only the drug should be given on the prescription of RMP. Chemoprophylaxis should not instill the false sense of security. All the PPEs and other infection control measures should be strictly followed. While on prophylaxis, household high-risk contact of positive cases must remain at home, and they should self-monitor themselves and report when they become symptomatic. And there are some ongoing clinical trials about the use of prophylaxis for the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So this is all for my presentation.